Hey guys, if you are reading along with us this week, our story is Rikki-tikki-tavi by Rudyard Kipling, and it's a classic story, a really interesting and suspenseful, exciting story. So I hope that you will follow along with me as I read it today. You will need your reading book, and we are on page 320 is where we'll be starting today. So if you don't have your book, just pause this video and go grab your book and then follow along with us. Okay. So we first are going to look at the vocabulary on page 320. Our words to know are cobra, plunged, lame, coiled, and triumph. And as we've done before, when you read, you may come across a word you don't know. And so you can use the words around it or the context clues. So I'm just going to quickly read this paragraph, brave dog. Topper protected his family from the cobra, a poisonous snake coiled in a tight circle near the house. Topper thought it was asleep. He went to inspect, and the cobra lashed out and plunged its fangs into Topper's leg. The strike would have made any other dog lame instantly, but Topper fought until he defeated the cobra. Winning the battle was a triumph. Now the family was safe, and they could get medical help for Topper. So I'm sure that you already knew the word cobra, but then it goes on to say a poisonous snake, and then coiled in a tight circle. So if you didn't know that, which you probably did, but it's kind of like curled up or wrapped around in a circle. He plunged its fangs into Topper's leg, so like pushed them in quickly and deeply. The strike would have made any other dog lame instantly or crippled. But Topper kept fighting, and then winning the battle was a triumph. So think about what that would mean, like a victory or a win. It talks about winning here. And just as a review really quickly, I'm going to pop back over to this page, the previous page. Drawing conclusions is our skill for this week. And sometimes we call that making inferences, but it's when you make decisions about the characters or events. Like you read about it and then you understand what's happening and you make predictions and kind of make connections. So we just want to think about that as we read along. So here is Rikki-tikki-tavi by Rudyard Kipling, adapted and illustrated by Jerry Pinkney. And I'm going to prop my phone up right here. And here we go. Rikki-tikki-tavi is a young mongoose who is washed by a summer flood into the garden of an English family living in India. Mongooses are the natural enemies of snakes, and the family is happy to have Rikki-tikki as a protector for their young son Teddy. As Rikki-tikki explores his new home, he meets Darzy and his wife, a family of tailor birds in the garden. They warn him of Nag and Nagayana, husband and wife cobras, who also live in the garden. Rikki-tikki, with the help of Teddy's father, kills Karate, a small brown snake whose bite is as dangerous as a cobra's. By saving Teddy from Karate, Rikki-tikki gains the gratitude of the family and becomes their honored guest. Teddy carried him to bed and insisted that Rikki-tikki sleep under his chin. But as soon as Teddy was asleep, he went for his nightly walk around the house, and in the dark he ran up against Chuchundra, the muskrat, creeping near the wall. Chuchundra is a scared little beast. He whimpers and cheeps all night, trying to make up his mind to run into the middle of the room. but he never gets there. "Don't kill me," said Chuchundra. "Rikki-tikki, don't kill me." "Do you think a snake killer kills muskrats?" asked Rikki-tikki scornfully. "Those who kill snakes get killed by snakes," said Chuchundra. "And how am I supposed to be sure Nag won't mistake me for you some dark night?" "There's no danger," said Rikki-tikki. "Nag is in the garden, and you don't go there." "My cousin the rat told me," said Chuchundra, and then he stopped. "Told you what?" "Hush! Nag is everywhere, Rikki-tikki. Can't you hear?" Rikki-tikki listened. The house was as still, but he could just catch a soft scratch, scratch sound, a noise as quiet as the footsteps of a fly on a window pane, the dry scratch of a snail's scales on brick. "That's Nag or Nagana," he said, "and whoever it is, crawling into the bathroom drain." "Thank you, Chuchundra." He crept to Teddy's bathroom, but there was nothing there, and then to Teddy's parents' bathroom. At the bottom of the plaster wall there was a brick pulled out to make a drain for the bath water, and as Rikki-tikki listened, he heard Nag and Nagana whispering together in the moonlight. "When the house is emptied of people," said Nagana, "he will go away, and then the garden will be ours again. Go in quietly, and remember that the big man who killed Karate is the first one to bite. Then come out, and we will hunt for Rikki-tikki." "But are you sure we must kill the people?" asked Nag. "Yes. When there were no people in the house, did we have a mongoose in the garden? As long as the house is empty, we are king and queen of the garden. Remember that as soon as our eggs hatch, our children will need room and quiet." "I had not thought of that," said Nag. "I will go, but there's no need to hunt for Rikki-tikki. I will kill the man and woman and the child if I can. Then the house will be empty, and Rikki-tikki will leave." Rikki-tikki tangled all over with rage at this, and then Nag's head came through the drain, and his 5 feet of cold body followed it. Angry as he was, Rikki-tikki was very frightened when he saw the size of the cobra. Nag raised his head and looked into the bathroom, and Rikki could see his eyes glitter in the dark. "When Karate was killed, the man had a stick," said the snake. "But when he comes to bathe in the morning, he won't have it. I'll wait here until he comes. Nagana, do you hear me? I'll wait here till daytime." There was no answer, so Rikki-tikki knew Nagana had gone away. Nag coiled himself down, coil by coil, around the bottom of the water jar that was used to fill the bath. Rikki-tikki stayed as still as death. After an hour, he began to move, muscle by muscle, toward the jar. Nag was asleep, and Rikki-tikki looked at him, wondering how to attack. "If I don't break his back at the first jump," thought Rikki, "he can still fight. And if he fights, oh, Rikki, it must be the head," he decided finally, "and I must not let go." Then he jumped. As he bit, Rikki braced his back against the water jar to hold down the snake's head. Then he was battered back and forth as a toy is shaken by a dog. Back and forth, up and down and around in circles. But he held on the snake as the snake's body whipped across the floor and banged against the side of the bathtub. He closed his jaws tighter and tighter, for he was sure he would be banged to death, and for the honor of his family, he wanted to be found with his teeth locked. He was dizzy, aching, and felt shaken to pieces when something went off like a thunderclap just behind him, and red fire singed his fur. Teddy's father had been wakened by the noise and had fired a shotgun into Nag. Rikki-tikki held on with his eyes shut, for now he was sure he was dead. But the man picked him up and said, "It's the mongoose again. The little guy has saved our lives now." When morning came, Rikki-tikki was very stiff, but well pleased with himself. "Now I have Nagaina to deal with, and she will be worse than 5 nags, and there's no knowing when the eggs will hatch. I must go see Darzee," he said. Without waiting for breakfast, Rikki-tikki ran to the thorn bush where Darzee was singing a song of triumph at the top of his voice. The news of Nag's death was all over the garden, because his body had been put on the garbage heap. "Oh, you stupid tuft of feathers," said Rikki-tikki, "is this the time to sing?" "Nag is dead, dead, dead," sang Darzee. "The valiant Rikki-tikki caught him by the head and held tight. The big man brought the bang stick and Nag broke into pieces. He will never eat my babies again." "You're safe enough in your nest there," said Rikki-tikki, "but it's war for me down here. Stop singing a minute, Darzee." "For the great Rikki-tikki's sake, I will stop," said Darzee. "What is it, O killer of the terrible Nag?" "Where is Nagaina?" "On the garbage heap by the stables, mourning for Nag, great Rikki-tikki of the white teeth." "Never mind my white teeth. Do you know where she keeps her eggs?" "In the melon bed, on the end nearest the wall, where the sun strikes nearly all day. Rikki-tikki, you're not going to eat her eggs." "Not eat exactly, no. Darzee, can you fly off to the stables and pretend your wing is broken and let Nagaina chase you back to this bush? I must get to the melon bed, and if I went there now, she'd see me." Darzee knew that Nagaina's children were born in eggs like his own, so he didn't think it was fair to kill them. But his wife was a sensible bird, and she knew that a cobra's eggs meant young cobras later on. So she flew from the nest and left Darzee to keep the babies warm. She flew in front of Nagaina and cried out, "My wing is broken. The boy in the house threw a stone at me and broke it." Nagaina lifted up her head and hissed, "You've picked a bad place to be lame in," and she moved toward the bird, slipping along over the dust. "The boy broke it with the stone," cried Darzee's wife. "Well, it may please you to know that when you're dead, I will deal with him. Before night, the boy in the house will lie very still. Now, what's the use of running away? I'm sure to catch you." But Darzee's wife fluttered on, never leaving the ground, and Nagaina slithered faster. Rikki-tikki heard them going up the path, and he raced for the end of the melon patch near the wall. There, very cleverly hidden, he found 25 small eggs. "I was just in time," he thought, for he could see the baby cobras curled up inside the skin, and he knew that the minute they were hatched, they could each kill a man or a mongoose. He bit off the tops of the eggs as fast as he could, crushing the deadly young snakes. At last there were only 3 eggs left. Then he heard Darzee's wife screaming, "Rikki-tikki, I led Nagaina toward the house, and she has gone onto the porch, and oh, come quickly, she means killing." Rikki-tikki smashed 2 eggs, and with the 3rd egg in his mouth, scuttled to the porch as fast as he could. Teddy and his mother and father were there at breakfast, but they were not eating anything. They were stone still, and their faces were pale. Nagaina was coiled up within easy striking distance of Teddy's bare leg, and she was swaying back and forth, singing a song of triumph. "Son of the man who killed Nag," she hissed, "stay still. Keep very still, all 3 of you. If you move, I strike. And if you do not move, I strike. Oh, foolish people who killed my Nag." Teddy's eyes were fixed on his father, but all his father could do was whisper, "Sit still, Teddy. Don't move. Keep still." Then Rikki-tikki came up and cried, Turn around, Nagaina, turn and fight. All in good time, she said, without moving her eyes. I'll deal with you later. Look at your friends, Rikki-tikki. They dare not move, and if you come a step nearer, I strike. Look at your eggs in the melon patch, said Rikki-tikki. Go and look, Nagaina. The snake turned half around and saw the egg. Give it to me, she said. Rikki-tikki held the egg. What price for a snake's egg, for a young cobra? For the very last of the brood. The ants are eating all the others down by the melon patch. Nagaina spun around, forgetting everything for the sake of the one egg, and Rikki-tikki saw Teddy's father grab Teddy by the shoulder and drag him across the table with the teacups, out of reach of Nagaina. Tricked, 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 Rick-tick-tick, called Rikki-tikki. The boy is safe, and it was I that caught Nag last night in the bathroom. He threw me back and forth, but he could not shake me off. He was dead before the man killed him. I did it, Rikki-tikki-tick-tick-tick. Come, Nagaina, come and fight me. Nagaina saw that she had lost her chance of killing Teddy, and the egg lay between Rikki-tikki's paws. Give me the egg, Rikki-tikki, and I will go away and never come back, she said. Yes, you'll never come back, because you'll be dead. Fight, Snake. The man has gone for his gun. Fight! Rikki-tikki was bounding all around Nagaina, keeping just out of her reach. Nagaina gathered herself together and struck out at him. Rikki-tikki jumped up and back. Again and again and again she struck, and each time her head hit with a whack on the matting of the porch. Then Rikki-tikki danced in a circle to get behind her, and Nagaina spun around to face him. Rikki-tikki had forgotten the egg. It lay on the porch. Nagaina came nearer and nearer to it, till at last, while Rikki-tikki was taking a breath, she caught it in her mouth, turned to the steps, and flew down the path, with Rikki-tikki behind her. Rikki-tikki knew he must catch her, or all the trouble would begin again. She headed straight for the long grass by the thorn bush, and as he was running, Rikki-tikki heard Darzee still singing his song of triumph. But Darzee's wife was smarter. She flew off her nest as Nagaina came along, and flapped her wings at Nagaina's head. Nagaina only lowered her head and went on. But the instant's delay let Rikki-tikki catch up to her, and as she plunged into the hole where she and Nag used to live, his little white teeth were clenched on her tail. Rikki-tikki went down with her, and very few mongooses, however wise and old they may be, care to follow a cobra into its hole. It was dark in the hole, and Rikki-tikki never knew when it might widen and give Nagaina room to turn and strike him. When the grass by the mouth of the hole stopped waving, Darzee said, It is all over with Rikki-tikki. We must sing his death song, for Nagaina will surely kill him underground. So he sang a very mournful song that he had just made up, and right at the saddest part, the grass quivered again, and Rikki-tikki dragged himself out of the hole, leg by leg, licking his whiskers. Rikki-tikki shook some of the dust out of his fur and sneezed. It's all over, he said. The snake will never come out again. And the red ants that lived between the grass stems heard him and began to troop down the hole to see if he had spoken the truth. When Rikki got to the house, Teddy and Teddy's mother and Teddy's father came out and almost cried over him. And that night he ate everything that was given to him until he could eat no more. He went to bed on Teddy's shoulder, where Teddy's mother saw him when she looked in late at night. He saved our lives, she said to her husband. Just think, he saved all of our lives. Rikki-tikki woke with a jump, for all mongooses are light sleepers. Oh, it's you, said he. What are you awake for? All the cobras are dead, and if they weren't, I'm here. Rikki-tikki had a right to be proud of himself. And he kept the garden as a mongoose should keep it, with tooth and jump and spring and bite, till never a cobra dared show its head inside the walls. So I hope you guys enjoyed that story. I hope you learned a few new vocabulary words. And you might want to answer the questions at the end on page 337, just kind of to review the story about Rikki-tikki-tavi. Think about what is his job and how well he does his job. You might make inferences about Rikki-tikki and what kind of character he is, what kind of character qualities he has. And then why is he enemies with Nagaina? And how does he get along with the other animals in the garden? And then there are a couple of conclusions to draw conclusions about Nag and Nagaina, and draw conclusions about Rikki-tikki and his loyalty to the family. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed that story. And I will let you get to work on the worksheet pages and talk to you later.